World Combat Sports. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the weekend. Another segment, but quite different than what I'm used to talking about. I'm going to start off with the thumbnail that you see, Alejandro Riley. It's the reason why I'm speaking on this particular subject down here in the South, because this type of incidents continue to happen more than what you think. Let me fix this right quick. Hopefully everyone is doing great today. It's the weekend, man. You know, Memorial Day weekend. So I don't expect a lot of people to be tuning in that's not freaking inebriated, because I know how my people get down when it comes close to Memorial Day. And on Memorial Day, it may be on Monday, but the party has already started. Party started yesterday. But this segment, the first half of it, is strictly about a situation that continue to reciprocate itself, right? In everyday society. We see it all the time. We hear about it. But then you get people acting like this shit still don't exist. I don't know if you heard about Patricia Riley, right? A mother down in Dade County, Florida. She thought, taking upon herself to rid her life of her kid, which is autistic. She felt it would be something to come up with a premeditated plan to get rid of him. So we all have seen this in the past. We've seen this. This is not the first time. This is not the first time. It won't be the last time we've seen an individual like Patricia Riley derive a plan to harm her own child, get rid of him or her by death, and blame it on two black men. I tell you, people, the more and more I hear that shit, each and every time it's the same story. And listen, these are in different locations of the world globally. This is not right next to each other. These are individuals that derive the same topic. It's always the same shit. Now I'm gonna tell you where it kind of pinches me really the wrong way, because not only did she just say kidnapping, two black men ran her off the road, right? But listen, it's just certain things when it comes to black people in general that you just can't point the finger on all the freaking time. Kidnappings happen across the landscape of ethnicities when it comes to criminality, right? We've seen that shit. But we see too many times they can be white, Hispanic, brown, whatever you want to call it, and even black. But in this particular case, we're talking about white, right? They come up with, well, it was two black men. If they weren't robbing the house, now supposedly they ran her off the road. And guess what they do? Guess what we did? Patricia Riley say we ran her off the road to ask for drugs. We took enough time out of our schedule. And I'm not making any type of light of it. I'm just telling you the story. We took time to run off a random bystander. It just happened to be a white lady. Got out and demanded drugs from a random bystander, because that's all we look for in life. That's all black people look for. We wake up, shit, I got to get some drugs. I got to goddamn aspire to be a criminal. I need to do something to build my motherfucking sheep, because that's what I want to do. That's what my intent was when I went to sleep, and that's what it is when I wake up. These two guys stopped her allegedly to demand drugs off a random pedestrian. Once, this is her story, once they wasn't able to obtain drugs from her, they took the kid. Now, once again, it's just certain things black people are not participants of. Why are we going to take your kid for? That's just not something, you know what I'm saying? When you look at it, that's just not something you can just finger point all the time as if that's what we do. So she tells the police, they took my kid. They took my iPad, my phone, just some low life, dirty down scoundrels, those black people. I swear to you, if they can't get drugs and money, they take your child and then they take your iPad and cell phone. So Patricia Riley comes up with this incredible story that fits the description. Black drugs. And she goes in there and attempt to help law enforcement believe all the hype behind it, and that she's this distraught mother whose kid has now been kidnapped by two black men. Now, there's a lot of inconsistencies. Of course it is. But my first part of just speaking on it in general is the reoccurring thing of when it comes down to two black men did it. Can't be one. It got to be two. Two black men, and it has to be money or drugs. It has to be money or drugs. But what she fucked up at, she is trying to convince the public, peace officers, that two black men said, if I can't get drugs from a random bystander, which I never met in my life, which I thought that was just going to be carrying around bricks, bags of weed, whatever the case. If we couldn't get that off you, we're going to take your kid. So what exactly the black man supposed to do with a kid? What are they going to do with the kid? And they don't know the lady. She didn't tell the police that they demanded ransom for her kid. She had to come up with this amount of money in this certain amount of time. You know, what was the process in that whole deal? They just going to take your autistic kid? They just going to damn speed down the road with a kid in the car with no drugs, as she put it, with an iPad and mobile phone? All that shit didn't make sense. But my point in talking about it is down here in the South, that seems like it's a reoccurring thing. It's a reoccurring thing when shit pops off the wrong way. It's two black men. I swear to you, it's two freaking, it ain't one, it ain't three. It's two black men, and they up to no good. Give me your money. Give me some drugs, because God damn it, that's what we raise our kid to do each and every time we even hear about, oh man, we're about to have another kid. But first of all, we need to make sure what drugs are available. Aren't you sick and tired of hearing the same shit? I'm just, this is not even something I talk about all the time. But in society, this is remediated over and over again. It's easy for somebody who's committing a crime to place the culpability on a black person, and then they staple together the usual sequences or residue that comes along with it. It's kind of like profiling. You make up a profile, and right now the profile is, you can say two black men, guns or knife, drugs, or they robbed me for money. So therefore, she took it a step further and said, shit, you know what, in 2020, you know what the black people are doing now? They kidnapping kids. They're kidnapping white kids now. And that just don't go down like that. That's just not something that's repeated in the profile of what we hear out here in the public. I'm going to tell you how scandalous this female is, right? She takes her kid and leads him to a canal in Dade County, right? She leads her kid to a canal. And we all know what a waterway is. Canal, waterway, however you want to put it. She leads the kid down there, and the kid is so autistic that he don't speak. He's 9 years old. He had on a diaper. We know how it is, in all respect, you know? She leads him down to the canal and pushed the man in there. She pushed that young kid in the canal. to drown. So just so happened, there was a lot of commotion and everything and people screaming, and aid was able to arrive on time to help her get her kid that she just tried to kill out of the canal from drowning. Now I can only imagine. No, I can't imagine because I don't have any autistic kids. I can't imagine, but I can only assume that the kid potentially may felt, I don't know, man, because autism is something that's outside my scope and range to try to sit up here and speak on in a professional manner or even outside of that. But the kid had to have some feelings potentially that he was in danger. I don't know. I mean, because I look at it like this. If his mom was willing to walk him to the canal, then it had to be something going on at home. There had to be some problems at home that registered with the kid that his mom didn't like him. And she was married. So what did the dad see? What did the husband see? Was he aware of how deep this situation was and how this lady wanted to take out their kid, wanted to cause bodily harm, was a deleterious parent to this kid's well-being? That's all the questions I have. You know what I'm saying? Those are the questions I have. So when that kid was pushed in there, and the only person that he's seen, just because a kid autistic does not mean he cannot identify his parents. So being he was with his mom and he was pushed in the canal, when he was rescued, I wondered the kid who don't talk, I wondered how deep he wanted to say something like, I think my mom just tried to kill me. I think she was the one that maliciously pushed me into the canal. But the kid doesn't talk. We see this all the time. We see people with disabled kids, they get tired, it's a burden, and they want to do something about it. So when they go about committing an act like this, and a horrific act, right? They always blame it pretty much of the time. If they take enough time to think about it, they blame it on a black person, a black man. It can't be a black woman because that's just not what black women do. That's just not the MO. But a black man looking for drugs and money, that fits the MO when they report it on 911. So the kid is rescued. God was looking out for him. You know what I'm saying? God was saying, you know what? Not right now. Let me get this kid out of here. But I guess the devil was close by, man, because the mother, Patricia Riley, took her kid who was rescued by strangers, and she relocated to another canal. An hour later, she takes her kid to another canal, pushes that young man into the canal, and he drowns. This time he drowns. And the story, like I just mentioned earlier, is the fact that she placed all the culpability on two black men running her off the road, taking her iPad and her phone and taking her kid. And then the kid is found floating in the canal. I mean, what name can you come up with a person who not only had an autistic kid or had a kid with a disability, right? But the fact that whatever's going on in her life, she tried twice in one day to take that kid's life, and she was successful. Not only the point of people running over to save the kid, but no one really recognized and say, you know what? Did you push your kid in there? Is everything okay? What the fuck is going on? How did you take your kid to a canal or to the edge of the canal and allow him to even end up in the water? That's negligence right there. That's something you got to look at. You say, what the fuck is going on with this lady? But no, gave her back her kid, like we see so many times. Give her back her kid. I don't think law enforcement was called. Any red flags was raised of suspicion. You know what I'm saying? This lady was given the opportunity to take her kid, put him in the car. And I can't imagine if the kid was looking at his mom, even if being autistic, looking at him, and saying, you was the only one I was with down there. And I end up being shoved in the back into a unit of water. So she gets to her next place to commit her crime, and she follows it. She followed through with it, and she's successful. This kid drowns. And of course, thank God to thorough interrogation when law enforcement actually is effective in situations like this. It wasn't an all-out manhunt for two black men that never existed. Now, we got some black men that's locked up for some shit they didn't do. But thank God in this particular case, because when it's dealing with a white kid sometime, right? You have individuals that will make impulsive decisions and go out and just try to find individuals that fit the description. And also it's been done in the past where you have the accuser will basically give a description of two people she may know already. You know what I'm saying? She might know two black men already, give that description, and they go out here and look for those two individuals. She'll give them around about the location they was in. They could be two guys that hang out at the gas station. They could be two guys that be at the rec center, whatever. They'll give them the description and they go pick them up. Take away some valuable minutes of their life because they fit the description of a kidnapping. Now turn to a murder, because if the kid is kidnapped and then found floating, obviously it's a homicide, right? So she gets in there in interrogation and her story didn't add up. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't any validity to what she was telling them. And one thing you have to understand about, law enforcement, pretty much, they've heard stories that are truth and they heard the ones that are lies. Okay. You got some good liars out there. And thank God she wasn't the one that's a professional and been able to get away with it, because it would have been crucial in this state of time for them to go out there and pick up two black men for a white kid that was floating in the river, in the canal, and have these two black men wrongfully accused while she's up there lying and out here just taking away somebody's life, taking away two innocent people's lives off a false accusation. Well, my point is, was it ever something that registered at home, in the household? Was it something that registered between her and her husband about the way that his wife felt about the kid, their child? Was it something there? For her to attempt twice in one day to kill their son, 9 years old, and obviously the kid has been like this his entire life, they become fed up with it, and then take the kid out there a second time and push him to the canal. Watch him drown this time. Make sure he's dead. The kid comes up floating, and then she gets on the phone and call 911 and make a false statement. And boy, it isn't difficult in this point in time for people to sit up here and make a big deal and put the same profile and cascade into their cadence when they call 911 and say, yeah, it was two black men. I mean, really, we've been sick of it a long time ago. We just getting blamed for shit. Anything for somebody to give them enough of an option to say, you know what? It could have been two black men who took that kid. It could have been. They was looking for drugs, right? It could have been two black men. It could have been. Just looking for drugs. So we couldn't get the drugs. We got the iPad and the mobile phone or whatever. So it's so much bullshit connected to this story. And I don't sit up here and wish even the worst malefactor, once they're caught, to go into prison and get what's coming. But that lady right there, she's gonna get some repercussions. Seriously. You absolutely have to pay for going up here taking advantage. Look, not only of a child killing your child and an attempted murder. Look, they're charging her with attempted murder and they're charging her with murder. So she's going to be in there for quite some time. Then on top of that, you go over here and blame 2 black men. So definitely is going to be some ramifications with her sitting up here being disowned by our own people once she do get locked up. I mean, I don't know what the women's side of the house is, but the only thing I can say is they're going to feel some type of way about it, first and foremost, because she took her kid's life and he was autistic. You feel me? I mean, there's no way around that. The kid was freaking innocent. The kid was going through life dependent on others, and those others was his family, individuals that was supposed to love him regardless of who he was. You know what I'm saying? And I guess again, I spoke on it, and I'm speaking on it because I lost a child. You know what I'm saying? I lost my son, and you know, it's coming up on his anniversary. He's been gone several years now, but it's just the fact of when you know a kid, regardless of what age, that's your child, that's your seed, and then their life is gone. Yeah, you're supposed to feel some type of way about it. Yeah, you might have an attachment when other people go out here and take their kid. They take their kid lives because they just don't want to be bothered with them no more. But yet when it comes around, it's the same MO, right? It's the same motherfucking script and tell. Black man looking for drugs. We ain't looking for a goddamn suitcase of money. We're not trying to tell to get out the car so we can take the car. You know what I'm saying? That only happens sometime or another. You know, if the person was driving a sports car or whatever the case, and then they forced them out at gunpoint and stole their vehicle. But we, black men, we are looking for drugs. We ain't looking for shit else. We ain't looking for credit cards. We ain't looking for goddamn bank account statements. We're not looking for cash. All we doing is just looking for the bag. Give me a bag of weed. Where's a goddamn bag of drugs in it? Anything, because I have to have it. It's just amazing how we blended in so much to the point when people accuse black men of the crime that they then commit, the way they mesh the same profile. They have a list. They have a default list to start it up, to start up the statement. What is this about? Okay, 2 black men. What's next? They had masks on. Well, how do you know they was black? Oh, their neck. What's next? They had knives or gun. What's next? You know what I'm saying? Oh, they say, give me all your money or give me your drugs. Everybody's not going around here trying to do drugs every freaking day they wake up, man. Black people aren't waking up trying to go out here and kidnap white kids. We're not trying to go out here and kidnap anybody, kids. But it was absolutely fucked up to hear this story in light of already what's going on down here in the South. And also, you know, the daily situations that we have to deal with defending ourselves in situations we had nothing to do with. But it's difficult to try to explain that when sometimes people already proven that you're guilty anyway. So you're basically frustrated that the conversation is more so saying, okay, prove that you're innocent. You know what I'm saying? Prove that you're innocent. Because we already know you're guilty, but you got to prove that you're innocent in this particular case. That's all I'm saying. This shit is tiresome. It's fatiguing for real. Every time you wake up, people want to act like racism is gone. Racism ain't going nowhere. This shit is going to keep on cultivating, flourishing. The roots are where they at, and people need to understand that just because someone speak on racism, it's nothing. It's not against the law. And situations like this prove that racism still exists. Not everybody, but when you sit up here and you are pretentiously creating a scenario that include falsely accusing Black people in general of doing a crime, that's racism. Seriously. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, no matter how you want to think about it, it's racism. Jason B, what's good, man? Blessings, brother. Boxing conversation with Reggie Owens. Salute, man. What's good? The Undoubted salute. WCS Real Talk. Man, salute to everybody that's in the chat, man. Appreciate it. I just had to jump on here and kind of talk about topics that really I don't talk about online. But sometimes, you have to address certain situations. Being that we have the Ahmaud Arbery cases going on. And I know what it's like to lose a child. So when I read the story about Patricia Riley and the way she stood up here and killed her kid twice, she basically killed that kid twice. The first time she attempted to kill him, it was enough screaming of somebody seeing the kid in the canal, so they came over and rescued her. Then it wasn't enough for her. She was driven, she was fueled by hatred, because you got to hate your kid to kill him twice in one day. You got to hate him. You got to despise that kid. So she picked that kid up, put him in the car, drove to a second location, and successfully pushed that kid in the canal again. Death by drowning, which is a homicide because it was intentionally done. Well, that shit wasn't enough. The fact that we have all these other cases is going on in society, and too many people use the default that it was Black men doing this. It was Black men that pulled up and did. Y'all got to stop acting like racism is going somewhere, just like it blow through like the springtime, like the pollen. It comes through and pollinate and then it goes away. That's not what racism is. Racism is year round. It's daily, according to where you at. And no matter who choose not to want to talk about it, if you birthed as a Black person, you're going to talk about it because you experience. Just like when a Black person open carry, listen, a Black person open carries in an open carry state, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be profiled a lot more than an individual that may be white or whatever walking around here open carry. I've experienced it. I've experienced a lady profiling me for open carry when she was with her husband, and she wanted to make a big deal about how many weapons I brought to the range. And when I just looked at her, she gave the same profiling, the same thing we hear all the time. You know what she said? She told the guy at the desk, "Oh, he looks dangerous. He looks dangerous." Now I have a weapon on my hip, and I have my rifles and my weapons in my hand, waiting to go into the range with my son. My son was with me. And that's the disrespect. They don't care if your kid's there. They're focused on the older Black person that they're directing all the attention. So she says, I'm look dangerous. That's what we always get. We look intimidating, we look dangerous. So when I gave her a look, and she kept on running her mouth, and I finally spoke up and said something, believe it or not, I was kind of surprised that her husband didn't get involved, because that's who I was expecting. I was expecting him to come a little closer to make it a different type of situation. And this woman just running her mouth, telling me, I ain't probably did shit in life. I ain't did nothing. Until one of the guys took her to the side and said, "You know what? That's a retired veteran." And I'm saying, I don't give a fuck if I'm a retired veteran right now. I don't want to hear shit you got to say. This cat went and told her I was a retired veteran, right? And she attempts to, I said, "No, get the fuck away from me." take your bitch ass up the street. I don't have shit. I hate when people treat you like shit. And then when they hear you serve, they want to come back and goddamn try to feed you the kindness. They feeding that shit to you straight out the toilet. Oh, my apologies. I didn't know you was a veteran. But no, you was up here talking about I look like I ain't did shit. I'm a dangerous person. I ain't really been productive in society. Nothing. Her not knowing me anything. And you know what? To be honest, I can't imagine the individuals that's actually been involved in being picked up for a crime they didn't commit, all because somebody said, oh, he looked intimidating. If you 6'3" and black, it's easy for somebody to say, oh, he's intimidating. He looks dangerous. Believe me, I experienced that shit. I'm from the South. Absolutely. I'm from the motherfucking South. I've experienced it. Absolutely. We have to walk through life and make sure we don't overstep the reaction. A motherfucker can walk up to us and say some shit under their breath, or they can then provoke a situation. And then if you provide them immediate reaction, I'm talking about as strict and as authoritative as you can possibly get, it'll work against you, because now they're going to act like the victim, call 911, make a scene with everybody else. All we saw was him dragging and dog walking their ass around the parking lot, him or her around the parking lot, beating the shit out of him. He looked like the aggressor. So when law enforcement arrives, you have to explain why you put hands on the individual. And listen, y'all, if you think for 1 minute, 1 second, 1 breath, that it's as simple as you just saying, you know what, listen, I'm a U.S. veteran, and I felt threatened, not only from what I experienced in the military, but what I've experienced from her today. She was very aggressive and threatening. And then you get these individuals, some individuals, they'll sit up there and question you like, this what I had done to me down here too. Seriously, you felt threatened by her. Look how small she is. Look how tiny she is compared to you. They sit up here and try to glorify a motherfucker that's evil as shit. And they will sit up here and devalue the process of elimination to say, well, my story isn't fitting to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that she provoked the situation. He provoked the situation. But when it's a female, a white female, though, they always say, well, she's a little bit too small. Did you really feel threatened by her? Seriously, did you really feel threatened? Military don't matter. Don't think the military matters. People don't want to hear you serve. They don't want to hear shit. It don't matter. People overlook that shit. They don't care. When somebody accuses you of some shit that's criminal, you would spend more time trying to explain yourself to say, hey, I didn't do it. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. I remember I had open carry. This is God honest truth. And I don't sit up here and say, you know, I'm putting everything on my kid, my mama, a stack of Bibles and all this shit. I'm telling you what I've experienced. I remember one time I was open carry and this white chick grabbed my arm and said, you're a law enforcement officer? She grabbed my arm and said, was I a law enforcement officer? And I snatched my arm away. I said, don't touch me. And then you're being too nosy. I don't have to explain anything to you. Before I know it, it was like 8 or 9 officers on the scene, y'all. 8 or 9 officers on the scene. I'm not exaggerating that. And though they was fairly decent, you know the one out of the group, as I'm telling you people, you know the one out of the group with the biggest mouth in that group of law enforcement, and she wasn't even there. She wasn't even the first responder. It's the female cop. The male law enforcement already had this stuff out of, under control to the point where I'm sitting up here explaining myself. And did I mention? I forgot. I called 911. I did. I called 911 on her for grabbing my arm, especially on the side where I had my pistol at. And I called 911 because she was making a scene. When they got up there, she wasn't getting questioned. Small, fragile looking female. I was the one getting questioned. So when I'm up there talking, I got black and white law enforcement up there, right? They ask me all these questions. And I didn't have to tell them nothing about the military, anything. I have the license. I can open carry. This is what I know about the state law, right? Then this white female cop come up there, law enforcement, brother. And she starts telling me, hold up, relax. I'm like, you just arrived on the scene and you telling me to relax? I'm not even talking to you. Hey, you're going to be in cuffs before it's all said and done because you seem a little bit agitated. You seem a little bit over aggressive. See, that's the shit that I'm saying. Like, why? Why is this so important? If you see 8 of your freaking compeers up here, she comes up, the only female, and she's making the biggest scene trying to further bloviate a situation that's under control. And they use that R word, relax. Relax, you seem out of control. I can be talking to them just like this. This is what I do. Talk to them monotone. It's always that one that sit up here and say, you seem overly aggressive. Hey, I'm not going to tell you again. That's the last warning. And then you see the right hand starting to go to the taser or the weapon, depending on what height you are. You know what I'm saying? Depending on your height. I ain't gonna lie. It depends on your height. But the shit still goes down, people. Y'all need to understand that shit. Y'all need to totally understand shit like that still. It doesn't matter if you're in the military. It don't make no sense at all. You can sit there and talk to somebody. It doesn't matter. And I don't care if it matters. If you treat me like shit before, and then you find out I served, and all of a sudden you want to be nice, I'm like, fuck you to your face. I don't have shit to say. Jason B say, done dollar, shalom, bro. We in the building. Principal say, that's crazy. Radio, that's exactly why I never wore my uniform in public. Wearing your uniform in public, man, in a civilian off base, you know what I'm saying? Off base in a sense, or, the Army was allowed to wear uniforms off base or whatever. In this day and time, just say I was walking around in uniform and I was open carrying, you would still be questioned. And you know what's crazy? You will probably get questioned. And once again, I've experienced a similar situation like this in California where you go into the range, I'm wearing a drop holster. I'm out of the Corps already, but I'm wearing my Marine Corps bottoms, my camo bottoms with a drop holster. And I get this person walking up to me and they want to start a conversation by saying, California have different license rule. What license rule you have on your firearm? They don't ask you your name or anything. When did you serve? Did you even serve? Why are you wearing that uniform? I said, what's wrong with it? Oh, it has your name on it. In order for you to have your name on a uniform, you must have served. Now, I'm not wearing the blouse. I'm just wearing the pants with white on the back. Still, I could have wore the whole entire uniform. I earned it. I could wear it where the fuck I want to wear it. But you'll get somebody say, did you even serve? And I'm not even, be honest, I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going to give you what you want because basically you're trying to allow me to prove something to you. I need to prove to you that I'm worthy to be in your presence with the firearm, with a service uniform on, to get you to like me. Man, y'all need to wake up, man. That shit ain't went nowhere. It don't matter if you served 30 years. If a motherfucker look at you in your face and don't like you, they're going to come up with a reason. And then when they tell that same person that was telling you wasn't shit and you was defending yourself, that you was served, that you're prior law enforcement, prior military, whatever the case may be, then they have a change of heart. They have a change of heart. Facts, Paragon Prince, salute. They excuse the hate. God bless us all. I would think of you off duty. You know, for me, I'm just going to tell you, I just never been a person to wear facial hair, right? But once again, it don't fucking matter. It don't matter. Like, I would be really fucked up if I went around here and I actually grew my hair out and I had some locks and I grew the beard and everything else to go along with it. And, you know, just did things a whole lot different. But I never cared for facial hair. But still, you take a motherfucker that got there, keep his hair cut and clean shaven, you still get treated the same. It ain't nothing. Don't even get it twisted. What this female did by saying 2 black men was the reason that her son was no longer with her is what happens every day somewhere, somehow. And I'm just asking those I can't say this to the women. It's mostly the black men that goes through this, all honesty. So I have to address the black man and say, yeah, it's certain situations that you really have to assess and make very smart decisions on reacting. Because if you have a person say nigger, call you nigger under their breath, and you're the only one to hear them, no one else, and you put the knuckles to them, and the only thing people see is you put the knuckles to them, right? That's all the police is going to hear. Well, I got 9 or 10 witnesses over here and say that you was the first one to throw a punch. I've been questioned to the point where they'll say, well, the only people that saw anything was you moving toward them. Regardless of what you say, you was moving toward them aggressively. So that's why they responded the way they did. They're not going to too much involve what initiated me moving towards them and trying to get them to understand. Don't play with me like that. Don't play with me like that. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Don't do it. But they don't want to hear that shit. Be willing to understand you look aggressive. You look intimidating. Be willing to hear that. Don't let one person calling you nigger get you riled up to crack them early, to crack them immediately. Because I know for a fact here in the South, they will ask you that one question. And don't allow it when you already in handcuffs to freaking, jog your memory, the memory where you should have made a better judgment before you acted, right? But they're going to say, regardless, if they call you that word, did they hit you or not? Did they hit you? Did they assault you? When you get that question, did they assault you? And you tell them, no, they didn't hit me. Well, you can't go around putting your hands on people just because they call you a name. I mean, they've been calling names for centuries now. You have to be more mature about the situation and handle it better. This is when the play come in. Why you didn't pick up the phone and call 911 if you felt your life was threatened and somebody called you that word? Why you didn't call 911? They come up with all these scenarios, all these motherfucking scenarios as to why you did what you did. You know what I'm saying? They try to desensitize what's going on. And not to get too far off subject, I just think it was entirely fucked up that this lady said it was 2 black men. We've heard that too many times. You know what I'm saying? I think hearing black people in general, black men in general, speak about wearing masks and potentially being profiled for looking suspect, I understand where they're coming from. It's no way that I don't understand. And some people might laugh that shit off like, huh, that shit funny, man. You overthinking that. No. I can understand why that person said what they said. You know what I'm saying? We wearing masks all around, and then certain people trying to make a big deal on the way a person look with a mask on just by looking at their eyes. Believe me when I tell you, something else to that nature is gonna happen. With wearing these masks, and you're gonna get somebody that overreacting that he looks suspicious. How did he look suspicious? Oh, he had the mask on and he had the hoodie. Now, I would tell anybody, once again, especially black men, you shouldn't have to ask permission for a piece of clothing that you purchase to wear it the way it's supposed to be held. I never thought I'd hear the day when people are trying to tell you, hey, take your hoodie off. But it's made to wear. If you want to wear the hoodie on your head, it's made to wear on your head. No, it's better that you don't wear the hoodie. You're not gonna wear the hoodie in here because it gives the wrong impression. What? Trayvon Martin wore a hoodie, and all of a sudden, people are still making and branding and manufacturing hoodies for the test of time. They're worn doing athletics, sports, or whatever. They're worn to keep warm, all that shit. But if the wrong looking individual puts on a hoodie, they're looking suspicious. Believe me, you buy your clothes, you spent the money, you wear it the way it's supposed to. I don't give a damn where I'm at. I don't care. Don't be afraid not to wear the clothing that you purchase, all because society has placed a damn label all from one particular situation that allowed people to jump on board and say, yeah, if Trayvon Martin would have had that hoodie on and he wouldn't have had that can of tea and goddamn them fruity Skittles in his hand, he wouldn't have looked like a goddamn criminal. You know what I'm saying? He should have put the Skittles in his pocket. He should have put the can of tea in his pocket and waited till he got home and took his hoodie off and basically marched like he was in boot camp all the way to his father's house so he can get there safely. That's what Trayvon Martin should have did, especially when he was approached by George Zimmerman. You know what I'm saying? But that's another day. I just want y'all to be safe out there, man. Racism it ain't gonna never go anywhere. Racism ain't going nowhere. We just have to keep on educating one another on, if you just so happen to be in a situation like this woman, Patricia Riley, who sit up here and killed her kid twice in one day, successful in the second try. And she tells investigators that it was absolutely without any compunction that it was two black men that did it. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. I'm just curious to see what her husband, I want to know what her husband, thought about it. I know he was up there shedding tears and all that, but I really want to know what he thought about it. And then she'll get what she deserved in the court of law. And I hope they don't give her bond. I hope they deny her bond and let her sit in there and rot until she's supposed to go to damn trial. It should be an easy trial. It should be a quick trial, straight to the point, sentence her, and move on to the next. This Ahmaud Arbery case. Hell yeah. I just can't wait till this case get on board, because it was just one black law enforcement officer who stood up here and said, this is why Ahmaud Arbery was in the wrong and why Travis and McMichaels was in the right per the Georgia law to detain Ahmaud until the law enforcement arrived, right? Knowing that he didn't commit any type of crime, he was just leaving the motherfucking dwelling that had no doors on it, open space. He entered a dwelling that wasn't his, of course, and then commenced to run down the street. The good thing that I like after 2.5 months with no video on deck is the fact that the guy who recorded the video is finally being held accountable for what we know he was out there to do. And that was help the McMichaels. He was out there to help them. You just wasn't coming back from Target and you found a new target. Oh, hey, I seen your car pass by. We're on the road tracking down and hunting Ahmaud Arbery. If you have your phone with you, could you tailgate and get the video from behind? This is going to be interesting. Now he's been arrested for murder. He didn't have to be there to pull the trigger, but he was the one that was filming the entire process to the point of action for which they falsely imprisoned and prohibited Ahmaud Arbery from jogging past the vehicle. And I can only guess when Ahmaud seen these two fools previously and kept running, and then when they finally got out, doors open and everything, with a shotgun in his hand, and Ahmaud Arbery ran to the right side of the vehicle. I'm pretty sure at that time he felt that his life was in danger, that he basically had to take it to a whole nother level of defense to defend his life, to fight for his life. You down here in the South, and I'm pretty sure he understood what type of neighborhood he was in. Come on, we understand that shit down here. Don't get it fucking twisted. It don't matter, once again, it don't matter how long you was gone from the South. But when you return, you find out what areas that you grew up with are still the same. So, you know, the videographer is going to come on here and act like he was just recording and that was it. And he washes his hand. No, now he's basically arrested for murder too. And he rightfully should, because no one is going to piece together 3 white men on that road, coincidental, filming the entire scenario that played out with the McMichaels, who had familiarity with Ahmaud Arbery in prior incidents in that particular town, him being law enforcement, both being associated with law enforcement, both of them being associated with Ahmaud Arbery's case, having familiarity with his description and everything else. Guess what? He wasn't no random stranger running out of the dwelling. The video of the house owner even showed other people entering and leaving the house that were white. Nothing was done about it. But you get a 911 call, a Travis McMichael out of breath. And guess what it is, people? Wouldn't you know? Stand by. Drum roll. Travis McMichael calls 911 and says this same shit that us as black men will hear when we're in the process of explaining, once again, a situation that we know very little about, if that's the case. He's out of breath. And the lady say, "You okay?" "Yeah, he was just, when he seen me, he ran and he reached in his pocket. I didn't know if he had a gun or not." Drugs, gun. If your goddamn mobile phone is anywhere close to being clipped to your waist, oh, we thought it was a weapon. Oh, you reach down to hold your pants up or whatever the case when you're running and you got your mobile phone in your pocket. Oh, he reached in his pocket. Travis McMichael didn't say he reached in his pocket probably to grab his mobile phone. He said he reached in his pocket. Oh, I didn't know if he had a gun or not. I thought he had a gun. So once again, the stupidity plays out. Arbery is running away, but Travis still want to make it seem like his life is threatened because Arbery is running away and he reached in his pocket, allegedly. So therefore, he felt threatened that Arbery may have a weapon on him. You don't see the routine? It's a constant routine. We have to have a reason off your description, off your mannerisms, your actions, your tone of voice, how you present yourself as an individual. Look, you can be the nicest motherfucker. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be the nice. Some people don't want nice. They want everything outside of a mature human being saying, you know what, listen, I don't have time to be putting up with your bullshit. You got the wrong person. This not me. And I'm not going to sit up here and try to prove to you anything different. You got the wrong person, period. Are we clear or not? When that person goes against the grain and continue to fuck with you till they get the reaction that they want, that's the level that I'm talking about. This goddamn Ahmaud Arbery case where they have certain people that have made videos online, YouTube or whatever. It's these two twins. I'm not going to mention their name, but you know who they are. They was making, look, I don't know if they mixed black or white or whatever. They look like two brothers, but they're on YouTube. And they was making light of the entire situation on why Ahmaud Arbery put himself or placed himself in that predicament to be gunned down. And they be bouncing shit off one another. But yet in this particular situation, it was sort of like they was bringing some laughter. You know, they was making light of certain situations that Ahmaud Arbery did in the past. Regardless if you got busted for shoplifting, regardless if you got arrested for anything, it doesn't have anything to do with you running down the street. And they say, oh, well, he's been locked up twice already. So that's automatically guilty plea right there. So go ahead and hunt him down. And not only that, people, I don't know if you've seen when Travis McMichael was able to shoot point blank range with a shotgun, right? The way that he knew that the shot blew a hole through Arbery. And did you see down here in the South how he looked back at Arbery, who jogged a couple of steps and landed face first on the pavement, probably had 2 exit wounds. Travis McMichael just walked away like he was garbage, like he was a damn dog, like he was just one of those motherfuckers that didn't deserve to live. This is a guy who he and his father has had dealings with in the past. So this wasn't a random stranger, like I repeated earlier. But the point of blasting this guy and walking away as he dropped and not having any type of sensitivity or genuine concern to say, let me go back and see if he's okay while I'm calling 911. He let the motherfucker drop. He let him drop on his face with a shotgun blast. He let him drop on his face with a shotgun blast while he walked away. And you trying to tell me that ain't racism? It just makes you shake your head, but shaking your head ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? Like this case right here happened February 22nd, and you didn't hear shit about it because the DA want to say they was within Georgia rights. They attempt to hold Ahmaud Arbery until law enforcement arrive. That's up under Georgia law, making a citizen's arrest. They fell up under the canopy, so no, they don't need to be arrested. 2 months passed by, people, and thank God you had some persistent individuals that was willing to put a tireless amount of effort into forcing the videographer and whoever else that had this video to leak this video and finally start allowing the public to push for justice. Finally, we had an opportunity. Once the goddamn video hit the mainstream, hopped in the current, and was all over the damn news networks, we was able to see some traction. We was able to see some movement. People tuning in and saying, damn, that's fucked up. Like, damn, what's going on? Like, why they gun that dude down like that? Who is this guy? And now, if you look recently, there's some collateral videos that's out that's showing, check this out. Once again, South shit, right? I was born and raised down here, South shit. Arbery was in a particular location. Once again, like I said about Patricia Riley, about this drugs and blacks, right? He's back there, law enforcement arrived, and this is not across the South, but it happens in the South. They come up there, and first they want to say, get your hands out your pocket. Get your hands out the pocket. So he's already been in the company of one law enforcement already. And another one come on deck. Usually the one that comes second, it's up to the first one to control them, because usually they're the one that's hot. They get the call. Oh, man, they're in a hurry to get on the scene and cause action. This guy comes up there after Arbery is already in the presence of his colleague, law enforcement colleague, right? The guy said, put your hands up. Ahmaud Arbery complies and put his hands up. 3 to 9. 3 to 9 o'clock, he raises his hands up. Right when he raises his hand up, the officer attempts to tase him anyway. The officer attempts to tase him when Arbery complies with the command given. He raises his hand up. No weapon in his hand. Right when he raises it up, you hear the goddamn taser go off. So when he has to explain, oh yeah, I had to tase him. Why? Well, I didn't know exactly if he had a weapon on him just yet. I know he was already here with Officer so-and-so, but I didn't know if he had a weapon on him. And furthermore, you know, he tried to make it seem like the justification was his movement or whatever the case. It wasn't just the fact that I told him to put his hands up and he complied with me. No, it's the fact that, oh, he had something in his pocket. I didn't know if it was a weapon. So being that he complied with me, I'm still going to make him pay. I'm still going to light his ass up with a taser, even though he complied with me with no hesitation. No hesitation. And the officer still activated his taser. It's fucked up. They know who the fuck Arbery was. Seriously. But I don't know, man. I get some people on YouTube that look like me. And the first thing they want to do, and you know who I'm talking about. Those of you that follow this case, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. You know about all the people that's been up there, and the only thing they want to talk about is, well, Michael was in they right. This was all before people started being arrested and shit got serious. You know what I'm saying? They was like, Ahmaud Arbery was wrong. He was running away from a situation. They had every right to arrest him because he was leaving a property that wasn't his, and he would enter the property. Now we're talking about a property with no doors to prevent someone from actually entering the dwelling. None of that. It didn't have any of that. And this is before any other video came out showing the other white couples, white kids entering that same dwelling on the same day. But yet you have individuals on here on YouTube saying Ahmaud Arbery was in the wrong, and don't be mad that Travis and his father may indeed get out scot-free. This before they even saying anything. And the fact that they just making light, thinking it's a comedy show and everything else. Hey, a black man lost his life again, period. No matter how you look at it. I don't care what Arbery did in 2016 or whatever, 2013, whatever the case. We did a lot of shit years ago. But if the man was running down the street and you attempted to stop or impede him going about his business over and over again when he did not commit a crime, but yet The third time or whatever time it was, you left the door open. You in the middle of the fucking street with damn shotguns, which they love to use. They got to see them in the rack. They got to have the damn Winston, the goddamn Smith & Wesson, the Ruger, whatever this shit is. They up there with the door wide fucking open, trying to do vigilante justice. And not to mention that his dad, he wasn't even allowed to operate as a police officer. He did his shit wasn't even damn active at the time. His shit wasn't even active. Oh, how you run boxing in the building, man? What's good with you? Man, my apologies for ignoring the live chat, man. This shit is just irritating. You know, it gets you irritated. Sometimes you gotta talk about it. Real talk. You gotta talk about that shit. Denise Ward is in the building. Good evening at Scotty White. Hey, how you doing, Denise? Thanks for dropping through as always. Soldier in the building. Always, thank you for your service. And also to Reggie Owens too, man. Appreciate your service, bro. Don said police told the homeowner to call them when he on camera. And you know what? That homeowner lived like what, 15, 20 minutes away. So however that conversation went with whoever told the homeowner or whatever the case may be to call them, that shit's premeditated. Because they didn't say, call me when other couples and kids walk in the dwelling. No, call when he comes into the picture of the camera. So that's premeditation. It doesn't matter how you look at it. That's malicious premeditation. Why? Because you're saying, for one, if the homeowner is now saying that Ahmaud went in his home and he didn't take anything, and he may went into the home to drink water because the water was active on site, then okay, they're gonna have to prove that in court. But the homeowner has been on record as saying that Ahmaud did not take anything out of the house. He didn't take anything. And how are you going to prove he took it unless it's on camera with him taking something out of the house? Because other people entered the home also, people. Other people was in the dwelling. It's on camera. This is America. We know this. It was a hunt, February 22nd, a Sunday. Like and share great content. WCS 2020. Oh, how you run boxing, man. Shout out to you, Marcus. Salute to you. Thanks for dropping in, my brother. Always a pleasure for everybody that's, tuned in. Thank you for the support. Real talk. With my genre content, man, every now and then you do have to jump off the box and explain, the frustration. If we don't stand for something, they always say you're going to fall for anything. I just never been the person to fall for nothing unless the shit just hindered me from damn going forward. And that's what I was presented with. And I couldn't accomplish the mission. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much stood my ground and stood what I think was right, period. Don't have anything to do with the military. That's just how I've been in life, period. You know what I'm saying? If you keep your circle small, you pretty much can identify who the snakes is. That's just life. You just have to be aware. Down here in the South, we still have to be aware as to what is going on, because when I see people on YouTube thinking that black people are using the race card all the time, it's very shameful to think that you desensitizing something that is very active. It radiates. You know what I'm saying? The temperature of it hasn't changed. The presence hasn't went anywhere. It's just you have people that's trying to act like it doesn't exist. This isn't a magic show. This is a motherfucking real life. People lose their life over people saying oh, you over 6 feet, you 6'3", and you look a little bit too freaking intimidating to me. And you get, black men out here trying to explain themselves in the best way. And then they start, well, look, we start doing this. Listen, I understand, stop moving your hand like that. You're looking aggressive. And then you put your hand, uncross your hands. And then your hands down by your side and you forget the phones in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's so many motherfucking scenarios that we have to go through to save our own lives when we are absolutely up to nothing. We're trying to appease. We're trying to appease. We're trying to go above and beyond to appease so we can return. And did I tell you this? How people, I don't use on my kids. When I'm talking, I know how my people be like, on my moms, on my kid, on this. When I'm having a conversation and I'm trying to prove something to a total stranger, right? I'm not going to sit up here and put the burden on my kids or just try to, no, as a person, you either going to believe me or you're not. If that ain't enough, then fuck it. I don't care. But when people treat you and when you try to explain that, you know what, this is not something I would do. I never would attempt to do something like this. I'm just trying to go home. I'm trying to go home to my kids. And then they keep on wrangling and pumping it up and fueling it and pouring the gasoline and trying to get you riled up. You say, listen, did you hear me? I'm really trying to go home to my family. I'm really trying to go home, period, and get away from this situation. That's it. You're trying to sit up here and talk to me. And then you go through the process of, am I being detained? Am I doing this? And then hopefully you know enough about the law so you can talk your way to a point of presenting your ID and get it back and leave without your whole vehicle being searched, you being searched, for those individuals just trying to find out anything. When you tell somebody you don't drink or smoke and they continue to say, well, what you planning on doing right now? I detect the odor of weed. Not on me, you don't. Oh, you don't smoke? Yeah, I told you like 5 times already. I don't motherfucking smoke. What you looking for? You ain't never smoked in your life? And then you turn around and say, yeah, I was smoked. So when the last time you smoked? And then the frustration sets in. When the last time you smoked? What does it fucking matter? I didn't smoke today. But when the last time you smoked? Shit never stops. The police assisted in targeting. And one thing I know for a fact, and I live by this, right? What I don't like to hear is people sitting up here placing an entire canopy over law enforcement as if one is responsible for all. It's not like that, right? But same thing goes for the military, right? They always tell you the 10% will fuck it up for everybody. Look, I don't know how many times in the Marine Corps where we had to pay for somebody else. Now, I would take that same action inside the military and say it for law enforcement. You have some law enforcement that just don't care. We've seen it. We've seen it. You got some law enforcement that don't care and put themselves in a situation like Ahmaud Arbery, and it messes it up for a lot of people that's trying to prove that law enforcement are good people. And some of these law enforcement are prior military. That don't matter. That don't matter to some people. They don't care if you're prior military. It depends on how stressed they are, what they're trying to, where they're trying to go, if they're trying to get promoted, if they even like you or not. How many times you have said, sir, ma'am? It all depends. But I can tell you this in all honesty, right? It's just the way it is. And it's never going to change that when it comes to blacks in general, we are the only race that was someone that never met you before in their life. Dependent on the way you look, judgment will be the first and foremost line of defense. The way they see you, way their perception, that is the first line of defense from any race, period. I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying for any race. We are that unit. We are, period. It will always be that way. Now, of course, when you crack your lips open and you attempt to communicate, that is the second line of defense. When you're able to speak with somebody, when you're able to speak, that becomes, let me see, let me think about this. You know, if you hostile, if you have rising inflection of the voice, you have a bit too much obscene, vulgarity, or you belting obscenities, or whatever the case may be, then they use that. Like everybody cusses, everybody, use some type of vulgarity. You know what I'm saying? But it's dependent on how you look, because you take a 5'5" person that looks harmless and they're up there saying, fuck you. They're going to laugh it off like, that's adorable. Okay. But you take a motherfucker that's above the average height and tell you something aggressively, demanding, you know what I'm saying? Strict tone. Then it becomes so-and-so seems like they're over aggressive. They seem dangerous. Seriously. I was in fear. Wait for it. I was in fear of my life. How many times have we heard that as black men? I was in fear of my life. Because some black men, we love to talk, with our hands. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good idea to sit up here and talk with your hands, especially when you're talking to law enforcement. But you start talking with your hands and you say, I can do what the fuck I want. I'm free. When you're talking to another civilian like yourself and you're talking with your hands, they say, whoa, you seem a little bit aggressive. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I'm taken back by it. You have to know how to comply. Once they start feeding you that stupidity, you have to know how to reply to that stupidity. It doesn't have to be all in freaking anger and you start denigrating one another mano a mano. You have to think about the situation, value it, see if it's worth your time. If it isn't, move the fuck on. Everybody ain't worth your time. Everybody shouldn't get your motherfucking time. You should be able to step the fuck away and be satisfied with yourself that, you know what? I ain't know that motherfucker. And I don't care. I'm going about my business. But when I walk away and you pursue, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ohio Run Boxer, man, thank you for the donation, my brother. Truly appreciate your support all day. Ohio Run Boxer said, I love to hear you speak and share your knowledge on different things we go through in life. Real talk. Salute, man. Appreciate it. Ohio Run Boxer say, hey, Denise. Michael Lewis say, big facts, brown and black men are not allowed to show emotion or too much masculinity without being labeled hostile or taken down a peg. And you know what, Mike? You're absolutely correct. And we do have to go through life, in a sense, walking on eggshells, the cliche eggshells type of deal. We do have to somewhat moderate how we are. If we're alpha male and we know that's the type of person we are, we still in certain situations, we have to be moderate. Look, we have to modify our approach and how we would usually break somebody down. We have to make sure, damn, let me think about this a little bit. Let me see how to approach this motherfucker. Let me see. Because this is way outside of what I'm used to tolerating. Let me see. Because I remember, right, a certain individual who He was talking about me being clean shaven, just basically trying to call me a square, whatever, and all that shit. And I was happy he really didn't know anything about me to say that, right? Because I tell people, I spent 20 years in the military instructing motherfuckers to do shit. I was in the military at one point in time where I was being instructed to do shit. And then as you pick up rank, you're the one delegating the orders, period. So you go through that long goddamn tenure of a structured environment, and then you get out, you have the God blessing to retire and move on with your life. I'm fortunate to my brothers and sisters that really didn't come back from combat the same. You make it back out here to society, right? And once again, you're trying to talk to someone and say, listen, I totally get what you're saying, man. I understand it. That's not the way I'm coming off, but listen, I've been down that road before. I'm a prior vet. And right when you say that, motherfucker tell you, man, nobody give a fuck about that shit. When somebody say they don't give a fuck about you being a vet, you just telling them, hey, in a sense that I'm letting you know I'm handling this a certain way because of where I've been. I totally understand that there's more than one way to de-escalate a situation. That's all I'm saying. I ain't trying to, I don't care. Listen, anybody will tell you. When I was an officer in the military, I didn't care if people walked past me and didn't salute. I didn't go around asking them to salute. I had more people trying to avoid saluting than I was trying to get them to salute. That's less energy for me. That's real talk. You know what I'm saying? I could have very well stayed in the military for 30 years, but I wasn't never a part of the Good Boy Network. I wasn't willing to step on people's shoulders and step on their neck and stop them from breathing and growing in the military to get where I needed to be. The higher the rank, the more people you have to sacrifice to prove a point. Because in the military, you're competing to get promoted. You're competing against all races. All races. And you have a lot of people that's willing to stab you in the fucking back to get where they need to be. Seriously. But the caveat to my point out here in the civilian pop, how many times have you heard me close out my channel and say shout out to all the veterans and the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces? Because you know why I don't say that? Because you have people that sit up here and say, oh, you're trying to walk on the backs of the veterans to grow your channel. You're trying to do this, And I'm saying to myself, what? Motherfucker, I've been retired over a decade already. I'm just showing love to the military. It's people that's done told me several times when I do media, I should really talk about the military more and I should, represent the vets. And I'm telling them it's not that easy. It's not that easy to go up here and represent the vets because you will have veterans trying to imply you're trying to use the backs of our brothers and sisters to gain notoriety. You're trying to basically take advantage of the situation. And I'll be honest with you. If you served 4 years, if you did a tour in the military period, you shouldn't have to explain shit to anybody because you went to boot camp, you served your time, and you got out honorably. Now, of course, if you're able to retire, cool. It's a different mentality when you come out here. You have some people that's able to adapt to civilian life, and we always trying to de-escalate shit and try to go about our business, don't want to be bothered. And then you got some people that come out the military and they still want to think they're in the military, and people don't want to hear that. I get it. But when it comes to this racism, it doesn't matter where you've been in life. It doesn't matter to some people. They'll sit up here and say, I don't give a fuck about that. I've heard my own people tell me to my face, why you have to keep on bringing up that shit? I don't keep on bringing up in, motherfucker, I'm trying to tell you some shit. I'm trying to tell you I'm a grown ass man. I'm not just turning goddamn 13 years old, my brother. I've been around the block all over the world. You know, I'm trying to tell you that we cool. But don't motherfucking push me over and over again thinking I'm a chump. You know what I'm saying? It's a time and a place for that shit. I'm not gonna be the one to be Malcolm X and try to say, can't we all just get along and speak? Because listen, when it comes to that, we either gonna be together, you're gonna get the brothers that's together and understand, and you're gonna get the ones that just totally don't want to be a part of it. That's just life. But the cats that was, part of killing Arbery in that particular town, they deserve everything they're getting. Unfortunately, it's shameful to see so many black people out here defending the McMichaels as if they did what they supposed to lawfully. Just because they had shotguns, just because they was law enforcement. You have to understand, you have some people law enforcement that are bad people. And you have some that are good people. In this case, you have some that look like they never seen a woman in their day and time. They probably porn activists. It ain't like they've been with a woman forever and a day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they goddamn hang out with one another and they go up there and share Pornhub ideas. These motherfuckers, what can we do now? We want to go patrol the neighborhood. I gotta feel important. Somebody goddamn call me up, please. I need something to do. When that motherfucker got the call to say, hey, let me know the next time Arbery goes into that house, this is going to be an opportune time to make a citizen's arrest. And look, they're taking a step further. I'm going to goddamn bring Betty with me. I'm going to let her do the talking this time. I'm not going to do the talking. I'm going to let Betty do the talking. That's what I'm going to do. And make sure you bring those 3 other weapons over there. He runs every day, so we might need a precision weapon in case he tries to run, so we can shoot him in the back. But unfortunately, Arbery did the ultimate no-no. Arbery grabbed a shotgun from the front side, which is absolutely and total death. When you grab a shotgun from the front side in a situation where you're trying to save your life, it's always going to be bad. If you grab a pistol and you're on the front side of it, yeah, you put yourself in harm's way to be killed or shot or harmed. And when you've seen Ahmaud Arbery take the blunt force of that shotgun, if it didn't make you sit there and think, it's like, damn, the burning sensation that must have went through his body when he was shot. The way he must have felt when he stumbled forward, feeling his gut sensation blown out. You know what I'm saying? From that shotgun. And for what I heard, the ammo that they had in there was like the top of the line ammo or something like that. It was made to penetrate. I forgot what it was, but we all know it did massive damage to Arbery's midsection. And there was no way he would have made it up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And to close it out, I need to mention McMichael's daughter. I think it was his sister. No, his sister, right? They speak of racism, right? She's the one who posted the picture of Ahmaud Arbery laying on the pavement, face down, with shotgun blast, dead. She posted that shit online. These people don't give a fuck. Y'all have to understand, down here, it's still racism that exists and all over globally, but down here in the South, the shit still exists, y'all. You trying to tell me Lisa, I believe that was her name, she didn't really understand, she wasn't cognizant enough to know, let me not post that picture out? It's fucked up. Hold on for a second. All right, Mike. Thanks for dropping in, bro. He said, "Peace, Scott, salute." By the way, Ohio, all in this shit, and this bitch for sure, man. Appreciate Ohio in the house, man, and on deck in the building, man. Always. Thanks for the support. Don said to me, reparations of all the honorable black vets, permit holders. Thanks and salute. Appreciate that, man. Ohio runs boxing. He had to go do the number 2. He'd be right back. Nah, I ain't have to go do that, bro. Nah, not at all, man. Not at all. Not at all. I had to go check on something. You know, I just had to go check on something. That's all. Without saying too much. You know what I'm saying? Without saying too much. IP man in the building. What's good, man? Hey, Mike, did you drop through, man? Are you in the A or not? I know you said you was dropping through, but are you in the A or what? I'm not sure what you meant, Justin Williams. I'm not sure what you meant. People leave short conversations. I really don't know what they meant. He put as a black man. I don't know what he meant. But just in case there's any type of hesitation, you know, this day and time when we have social media and we have people that sit comfortably behind screens, some of these individuals are misinformed. They're uneducated and they just don't want to talk about what's evident. Just because you talk about racism doesn't make you this pro anything. You know what I'm saying? But also you have to understand that you shouldn't sit up here and act like the shit don't exist. It does exist. Absolutely does exist. And I had people dropping shit in my inbox about the shit I was saying about Deontay Wilder the other day. They get absolutely upset when I imitate, you know, and matter of fact, you know, I'm just gonna end, not to switch subjects from Arbery or whatever, but God bless him, man. I hope they get justice for him. Hold on for a second. So I hope he gets true justice. I hope the guy, I forgot his name, the video recorded, I hope he get the same justice, because they should be able to determine if he was in on the hunt. Because if you pursue somebody without willingly, I mean, I'm talking about absolutely definitive knowing that they committed the crime, and you pursue them to say it fell within the Georgia statute of making a civil arrest. Now we have some pretty educated people out there that practice law to sit up here and peel back the layers and make sure these individuals get the right amount of punishment. Period. There's nothing wrong with somebody saying that we hope they get the punishment they deserve. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope they get the punishment they deserve because they took a life. You know what I'm saying? They took somebody's life. And, you know, for Aubrey's mother, you know, I hope she's able to have some type of peace and in her life once this trial is all over with. Because I can't imagine what she's been through the 2 months when the video wasn't even actively out here yet. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine how she felt knowing that her son's life was taken and the video wasn't even out. And thanks to the persistence of those individuals, thanks to the persistence of the ones that played an intricate role behind the scenes to keep on pestering, to keep on being persistent, to keep on poking and prodding and trying to get this people to release the video, and finally it was leaked out to the public, and the rest is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I salute them, because not everybody will stand up. You know what I'm saying? Some people won't even stand up for themselves, but you have a lot of people that will try to stand up for a situation. You know what I'm saying? Did you understand what I said? Some people won't even stand up for themselves, but they will stand up for a situation, because the situation involves a group of people. And within that group of people, that same person that haven't stood up for shit in their life, they'll just fall within the group because they're not the ones that are being exposed. They're not leaders, they're followers. So if the energy is right and they can just join in and not be noticed, motherfuckers will do that all the time. They'll just join a group. And if the narrative of that group is the same, and they can jump in and fall in line and fall in ranks, as we call it, they're fine. But then you have some people like myself. I don't need a group of people to help me make a decision on how to support something, on how to advocate for something. Period. It's not a day I ever woke up, even when I was growing up in the shit that happened to me growing up down here in the South. It's never a day in my life that I hesitated that I would be a different skin color. Not a day in my life. Not a day in my life. Not a day in my life I hesitated and wished that I was a different ethnicity. Not a day. In this situation, it was not a moment that I second guessed what God gave me in life. Never. You know what I'm saying? Never once. We're a unique group of people, but we have to deal with an ongoing situation that is larger than us. It's larger than us. You know what I'm saying? It's just too big. But internal to that, we continue to have to fight. You continue to have to sit up here and stand for what's right. And if it's something that you have to put forth energy to, you have to do that. You have to see, you know what, it's levels to this, you know, and I've been in a comfort zone for quite some time. You know, I'm talking about in general, I'm generalizing. Some people are in a comfort zone, but certain situations as a Black person may require you to step outside that comfort zone and put more energy into something that you're not used to, especially to save a life. Not just turning your freaking back and saying, no, I don't want to be a part of it. We already got too much of that shit. This day and time, you have to understand what standing up for something means. You know? You got to stand up for something or fall for anything. Don't say police even lied to his moms. I'm going to tell you, when that DA had mentioned that there's no need to arrest him, and with local law enforcement who was on the scene at the time saying that they was going to arrest him, but they got the word from higher ups to say no, they shouldn't be arrested, only because of him being a prior investigator for the DA and prior law enforcement. That just goes to show you the fragmentation on people just basically doing what is right. You know what I'm saying? People, when you're sworn in to military and law enforcement, you take an oath. That oath don't mean shit to a lot of people. It means core, it goes to the core and heart, and how some people go out here and perform their duties, it does. But to a lot of people, it doesn't mean nothing. It's just something that's required to gain entry. It's a procedure. You complete the procedure because it's not anything stressful. You give your oath, you raise your right hand, you do what you have to do, and you keep it moving. Now, everything else that goes into play, once you are putting in the hours, once you are experiencing situations that change your lives, once you experience people that change your lives, that's when the attitude changes for good or bad. You know what I'm saying? And for those individuals that decide that Ahmaud Arbery, his life wasn't worth anything, and telling his mom all that bullshit, telling the public nothing, that Ahmaud had been arrested previously, and the suspicion of him running down the street from an open ass house that other people was visiting. I'm glad that videotape wasn't disposed of. When you're doing dirt, you got to make sure you make sure you make sure all the shit is clean. Your pathway is clean, because you're going to leave a trail. You know what I'm saying? You're going to leave a trail. And the one good thing I love about the people that was just using their power is that they forgot to do shit. They forgot to connect the dots on the back end. So that video of people leaving the house, all the white couples and the white kids that was leaving the house also, I'm glad that wasn't destroyed. I'm glad the video wasn't condensed and cut and edited to just show Ahmaud Arbery going into the house, looking around, and then leaving. I'm glad. I'm not gonna mention God. I mean, this has nothing to do with this. Has something. Look, this has something to do with life, people. This has everything to do with life. You can't just sit up here and keep on talking about God. This, hey, we're gonna pray that everything goes out and these cats don't walk. You know what I'm saying? Because Flynn County, they already showed their colors. They already proved that they can conceal and cover up stuff. But yet, the people on the outside, the freedom riders, as I call it, the ones that was willing to dig deep and put in the extra time and effort to get these people to release. And once the information and the video was out there, now we can start getting the action with law enforcement and the GBI and the feds was involved in handling this case, and not the local law enforcement. The feds now had the charge. They was taking the lead. And we all know what, once the Fed get a hold of something, you already know what it is. We seen him and his son arrested like they should have been 2 months ago. And then the third one that's a part of the conspiracy, the accomplice, was the guy who video recorded. Don't sit up here and look all freaking groggled and, oh shit, I never wanted to be this. No, we don't want to hear what church you go to. We don't want to hear what you did for the community. Motherfucker, you was there recording the shit. When the gunshot went off, did somebody hear him say, oh no, this went too far. Let me do what's right. We didn't hear shit. The motherfucker was recording the whole thing. He recorded the whole thing, man. And it's a lot that I think about with Ahmaud Arbery taking that gunshot. And from what I understood, he was shot 3 times. All right. So you take a wild guess if he was shot twice with a shotgun, and then from the dad who was shooting from the back of the truck. He was in all sorts of bad. You know what I'm saying? He was in a bad situation, y'all. He was in a bad situation. Chucky Bennett say all them dudes was a KKK. And you know, when it comes to the South, a lot of people like to place the KKK, which is a certain group of people that I knew for a fact growing up, they was here inactive. Okay. Fact. The school I went to, everything, you know, kids will tell you that they parents and this, that, and the other, right? But this day and time, a lot of people don't want to talk about that shit. So, because it's hard to identify them unless you see the tattoo or whatever. It's hard to identify them. But they ain't went nowhere. They're still in certain isolated situations, properties. They still hold their rallies and do what they have to do. It was a picture out there of Gregory McMichael, if that's his name or whatever. I believe that was him in a uniform, not a hood or anything, but he was with a group, allegedly. I'm not sure, but it was a picture floating around that he was a part of that organization dealing with the KKK. Well, y'all need to understand that shit ain't went nowhere. That shit ain't went nowhere. That shit is still active, and I just don't understand how. I don't understand how. I don't understand how, and I just don't understand how they've never been shut down, and they are a pro-white organization. I don't give a fuck what you say about, oh, times has changed. Times has changed. They're not the same as they were back in the day in the 70s when you was growing up. Oh, yeah, they are. Oh, yeah, they are. And my dad used to be in the church. And he lived by the Bible. But goddamn it, if he didn't goddamn let me know when one of the motherfuckers rolled up. I ain't gonna repeat what he said, but back then I was like, Dad, you supposed to be saying that. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, you see that on the back of their truck? You see that? He turned me on the game early about the aspect of racism out here in the South. Y'all just think it's reality shows, Black Hollywood and everything else. Yeah, in that area. But outside of the city, you still have areas that are flourishing with white supremacy, period. They come in to roost. You know what I'm saying? They come into the motherfucking city sometime. You'll see them around, but in this particular case, they'll find out from all their research and everything whether this father and son was a part of any type of supremacy group. They'll find out. It's not hard to do. Oh, I hear Run By say I agree 1000%. Scotty, appreciate that. But yeah, man, don't ever get it twisted. That's why I hear. I mean, it's such a long road. It's been a long road, man, with this racism shit. It's a long road, and it's nowhere close to the finish line. It's never going to be a finish line. Never. It's never going to be a finish line because the shit is so embedded in history that it's no one that's powerful enough for Black people to get together and as a unit present a positive message to another group of people of other races, collective races around, so we can come as one for a message of change to the point where it's actively being distributed the right way. Like you get the whites, you get the Hispanics, you get the Indians, you get the Blacks, you get everybody with someone is powerful and respected enough to get together, talk, communicate, and there's a sense of respect amongst the entire group across the board to say, you know what? Okay, change is evident. Let's go. Nah, it's always going to be in the time of death, in the time of freaking adversity. You're going to see certain individuals getting together and protesting and marching because we're in different times right now. It's hard for us to get up here and just have one individual, especially in the black race, African Americans, especially. It's hard for us to have just one person that we all going to gravitate to as a leader that can talk to anybody else to get their group and ethnicities together. And worldwide, there's a unity. It's not going to happen. NEVER. Never going to happen. So with that being said, you just have to work internally with the microcosms and basically speak to your kids and try to change it up. Seriously. That's the only way it's gonna have effective change. Seriously. That's the only way. I can't see it going down any other way, people. But I'm definitely gonna keep y'all posted on this particular situation that's down here. And I just wanted to talk on Miss Riley, who killed her 9-year-old son. May God bless him. The kid was autistic, and I can't really understand if he knew what was going on, but she's gonna have to face the rest of her life in prison because of that, with 2 counts, 1 attempted murder and 1 murder. So that's the way it's gonna be. I definitely wanted to kind of talk about the change though leaving that behind, salute to them getting that case done, Ahmaud Arbery and all that. But I also wanted to kind of do a live on the new word that's coming out potentially that Tyson and Deontay Wilder will be out of country. Deontay Wilder and Mike Tyson, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury may indeed be out of country. And y'all need to understand that's not anything that hasn't happened in the past. It's just more so, it's one of the biggest boxing matches of this era. And we want to see it right here on our home soil. That's all. But if it goes down in Australia or whatever else, it'll be on TV. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be back on here, man. I'm about to have some company over. It's Memorial Day weekend. Only thing I can tell you all, I'm not gonna lecture you. Be careful out there. I'm not gonna lecture you on drinking and driving, smoking, doing whatever. Hey, it's Memorial Day. A lot of you don't know what Memorial Day is. It's for the fallen. Okay, it's for the fallen, y'all. Seriously, I know people celebrate and they just goddamn cook out and shit. I know that. I'm not here to lecture you on anything. All I'm telling you is to be safe, make good decisions. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the food, the ribs, chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, green beans, chitlins. You know what I'm saying? Ham, if that's, you're doing that shit. But y'all take it easy, man. Salute to you. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.